Hi, hello, this is Clementine from At Books with Clementine. And today I want to chat about my book buying habits and how I want to put myself on a book buying ban and why I want to put myself on a book buying ban. So I did put myself on a book buying ban already last year. If you were following on my Instagram last year, you probably would have seen some read it or unhaul it kind of challenges as I was pulling from my TBR jar to try and reduce my TBR number. And I did a great job at it. So my goal was not to get to TBR 0 because I am a mood reader and I still want to have a little bit of a choice of what to read next. But the goal was for me to get to 50 books on my physical TBR. So if we are talking about numbers, at the very beginning of 2025, I actually had 142 books on my physical TBR, which was way too many for me. I am a mood reader, but I felt also overwhelmed when I thought about the fact that I read about 140 to 150 books per year, usually. And while it is still a lot, when you think of your TBR being 120 books, that means that even if I read only books from my TBR, it would take me nearly a year to get through them. Regardless of the fact that some of the books I'm intentionally putting off for a different time, that I might not want to binge that series because the books are very serious and I need some palate cleansers in the middle. Regardless of all the other new releases, buddy reads, that I might take on library books for. It's a bit overwhelming to me. And I realized that a lot of the books I had bought were when I actually discovered BookTube with COVID in 2020. And I had bought books because I had rediscovered my love of fantasy and reading. And I bought some books because they were recommended to me, but I didn't really know my taste. So I instantly made a attempt into unhauling some of the books I knew I wasn't gonna like at all. I did also try a chapter of some of those and to figure out that the writing was really not for me at all for those. Should I have done this before buying them, even if for some of them I had bought them secondhand? Yes, I should have. And that really helped also my spending because I realized I am buying because of this shopping therapy more than me actually interested in reading the books. So that was it. And so in 1 month, I managed from 142 to 99 books on my TBR, which was really good. But after that, of course, it went down to really actually trying the books a little bit more. And so reducing the TBR was a little bit harder. But by the end of 2025 and at the beginning of 2026, I had 65 books on my physical TBR, which felt amazing compared to the year before, but I still wanted to get to 50 physical books. And so in the next 3 months, I managed to whittle it down to 56 books on my TBR, which felt amazing. It felt really nice. And I told myself I do not need to be on a sort of book buying ban, which I had been. And I think this felt really good in those 15 months. And at the end of March, I told myself I don't need to be on a book buying ban. I just made to make sure that I actually read some books from my physical TBR, and then I'm going to get down to 50, right? And in the past 3 months, I went from 56 to actually 62 books on my physical TBR. Even though I thought my book spending was okay, and I still made an effort to read books from my TBR. So it is clear to me that I need to get myself on a book buying ban again. However, let's talk about it right now. I'm not going cold turkey. I'm not gonna never buy a book for a few months because I tried that years ago and that doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, at least. So I'm going to do what I did last year to actually start this book buying ban, and that is to gamify this book buying ban and actually make a sort of bingo card that I have to fill out. And when I fill out, I can get a reward such as buy a book, which will make me feel like I can still buy books, but I have to be a lot more conscious about it. So what is this sort of game I'm going to play to do this book buying ban? I'm going to use Mel at Melonor Reads Overbooked challenge for that with a little bit of different rules, but the overall structure of it is definitely Mel's idea. So I will link her book buying ban challenge in the description down below, both the announcement that she made last year introducing the challenge, and I will also put in the link one of her latest vlogs actually reading for this challenge to get herself a reward, so you can see a little bit also of how the game also evolves as you play it, as you can basically make it your own, which I'm gonna do right now. Anyway, now let's get into the board and show it to you. So how's the board looking like? Very simple. You have the rows and the columns. So the rows are just the different types of rewards I give myself when I complete some of the tiles in that row. And the columns just spell book ban. And for each of those initials, I put a specific prompt for the book. So first we have borrowed. So this is the only column where I can read a book that is not on my TBR. I will let myself, because this is a game for my TBR, if I borrow a book, let's say on audio, but I own it physically, I will be able to fill this borrowed prompt if I want. But I will probably put this borrowed column with the books that I actually borrow and don't own, because I do read my fair share of those. I just know the other columns have to be on my TBR. So what are they? So we have this first O, on shelves. Very simple, it just has to be a book on my shelves, so a book I physically own, either here or in storage in the US. Second O, on audio, so it has to be a book I own on audio. I don't have a lot of those, only 12 so far, I think, but obviously as I get credits on Audible, I could get some more. Next is K for Kindle, so this is the books I own on ebook. I do have my decent share of them, although a lot of them might be also a Stuff Your Kindle Day, just sale deals that I got, ebooks that I found were on sale one day, or just even free for the first book to try out the series, etc. So they might be also older title, so it helps keep me accountable and make an effort to still try those. The second B in the ban is for BookBox. I do not have currently any subscription to any book boxes, but I used to have for a few years a Fair Loot subscription, so I still have a decent number of books that I had from this Fair Loot subscription. I also had an Illuminate subscription for a year or so, 4 or 5 years ago, I have to say, and I still have a couple of books that I haven't read from that one, so you see the problem, so I have to actually read those. And we'll revisit this prompt if we actually run out of these book boxes books. Next, we have the A, ancient. So this is really simple. Just read a book that has been on my TBR more than 1 year, just a TBR veteran. I know I have those. I will also try when I can to actually make an effort to pick books that I have had at least 2 years on my TBR, because it means that they are likely books that are in storage in the US, and I have to make an effort and figure out what I'm doing with those and read most of those, so that when I can actually go back and clean everything out in my storage space, that I can actually sell what I don't want and ship the rest back to friends. And last but not least, N, we have new. So these are the books that are new on my TBR, so that I bought in the last year or so. And now we go to the different rows. So these are different rewards. As I said, I will also let myself just fill in the different rewards at the same time if I want. The only rule for me is that when I finish a book, I would choose which child to put it on this board, and then it will be done. I won't be able to actually change different rows when I decide which reward it's going to be. It's locked in, and that's it. So reward number 1 is to buy a Starbucks drink. Some people might say it's not a whole lot, but Starbucks, I don't have a Starbucks very near me. I have to go to Paris for that. So a Starbucks drink means that I get to go to Paris and have a drink there and have a fun time during the day, do other things. So it's not only a Starbucks drink, but that's the way I put it. Reward number 2 is buy a book. Very simple. I won't put a price point on that because it really depends on the type of book I will buy, either a manga, a hardcover, we'll see. And I think it will average out depending on the book I actually pick. Reward number 3 is gonna be buy myself a souvenir. I am actually going on vacation to Portugal in a couple of weeks, and I wanted to have this reward because when I go there, I want to be able to buy myself a souvenir that doesn't fit anything that I could use at home, like let's say a towel, and I will let myself just buy something just because I find it's pretty. And that's all there is to it. I think it's a fun one, and I will probably change it up when I have actually done this row and change it to something else. So let me know your suggestions of rewards and we'll see what I put next time. And reward number 4 is buy a book. I just wanted to have 2 rows of being able to buy books. I wasn't sure what else I wanted. I know that Mel has a reward to buy herself some hobby-related things, like yarn, for example. But for me, I think I'm okay with what I have in terms of spending for hobbies right now. I do have some yarn I might need, but these are just for projects I've already started, and I need to just buy the yarn anyway, because they are projects for specific birthdays, celebrations, for people I'm gifting it to. I think it's okay not to have to earn those things for that. So now that we've seen the board, let's get into the rules. First rule, right off the bat, if I have read a book and I have given it 4 or 5 stars, I will let myself buy this book without having to earn the reward. Second rule, if I have pre-ordered the book before this book buying ban challenge came into effect, I will not have to earn the reward for it. But if I have a pre-order to put in right now, I will have to earn that pre-order by the time it comes into my hands. Third, to be able to earn a reward, so to get the row done, I need to at least fill in 5 tiles in that row, meaning that I need to complete 5 books to be able to earn the reward out of the 7 columns that are possible. This gives me a little bit more leeway. As I mentioned, I don't have as many books on audio. I might not read as many ebooks on my TBR as I have physically. So I do want to give myself a bit of leeway with that. What does complete means? It can mean that I finish the book, but I will also let myself count DNFs if, and only if, they are hard DNFs, meaning I gave it its fair shot and I know it isn't for me, so I either will unhaul the book that I own physically, or if it's on ebook, on audio, I will never actually pick it back up. One last rule, my TBR game, the Shades of Magic TBR game, is made as a board game, and some of the special prompts might tell me to buy a book. If and only if I get that, then I can buy a book without having to earn it through this system. And also, while I do this board, when I actually finish the end of this TBR game, I will be able to get a book haul without having to earn it when I finish it, which is only going to be every 3 or 4 months. So it also gives me some sense of reward finishing this game instead of just, you know, I finished the game, yay, let's go back to the beginning for next month. So I think that's all there is. Oh no, one last rule that I give myself for my birthday, which is going to be in August, I will be able to also go on a book haul without having to earn the rewards for it. I will still put a cut on money, and that's going to be around 50 euros. If it's 51, 52, that's fine, but I will put a cap at 50 euros. And I think that's probably what I will do also whenever I win my TBR game and I can go on a book haul. If I don't follow my book buying ban, I will have to get a punishment wheel made and rolled for a punishment. And I will have to think about punishments because right now I remember my wheel for last year of punishments, but I think I want to change it maybe a little bit. Maybe every time I think about it and I think of punishments as the year goes on and just, you know, add them so that if I have to spin that wheel, I will have some just on hand. But anyway, this is my book buying ban challenge. I'm excited to actually restart this challenge. Also, I'm really really excited because it will hopefully really allow me to reduce the TBR numbers, and maybe I can relax a little bit of those rules if I get below the 50 physical TBR number that I have. I will, however, try not to get out of this book buying ban challenge, just because, well, last time I put myself out of anything, it started to spiral back up, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. And also, it's a way to gamify this. And to this effect, I will also try to do read it or unhaul it challenges again. And I actually still have my TBR jar. I just need to update for the last couple months the stars in there for all the books that I bought, but I will start this challenge again. So you will see some vlogs probably in the next month. Hopefully you get a vlog for it. To this effect, please help keep me accountable. Whenever I start to say that I bought books, please let me know. Did you actually do it for the book ban challenge? If I don't mention it, right, you have to tell me, because otherwise I need to actually spin a punishment wheel for that. So help keep me accountable with this, and please let me know, have you been on a book buying ban challenge, or do you not just believe in book buying bans? Are you one of those special people who doesn't need a book buying ban? And if you don't have anything to say but just want to let me know that you were here, how about we leave a star emoji for the stars that I put in my TBR jar? And with this, I'll stop rambling, get back to reading, and I'll see you in the next one.